Violent aggression alone is not enough to win a war. Violence must be accompanied by intelligence, as aggression must be tempered by purpose. There is no blow as ultimately destructive as that which is ultimately considered. The Adeptus Astartes are led by revered, wise, and powerful individuals. Some ascend through deeds of combat, others foreordained by fate to lead their warriors into the most desperate of campaigns. Yet not all of the chapter masters of the Adeptus Astartes are chronicled with boisterous praise, for some are revered in more humble tones for no less valorous glories. For today, we shall elucidate the Master of Shadows of the Raven Guard, Kayvan Shrike. Born on the Raven Guard homeworld of Kievar, the young boy, who would be destined for greatness within the 19th, would show an innate proficiency for espionage. Working as a runner for the Tarkel Guild of his hive city, the boy would earn a meager living until his teenage years. Hunted by a rival gang for a task he had committed to earn his keep, the boy would evade the pursuit of his aggressors for a solar week. Sustaining himself on rancid fungal growths and briny water, the boy would be unaware of the observations of a shadowy figure. High upon the gargoyle statues and effigies of the city spires, a chaplain of the 19th would watch the plight of the young boy. Recruiting potential neophytes to the chapter, the chaplain would see great potential in the cunning boy with a proclivity for ingenuity and survival instinct. The boy would be cornered by the Hive Gang and fight bravely for his survival. Ending the lives of 4 gangers before being subdued, the young boy would seemingly be doomed to perish at the hands of his assailants. Taken to the heart of the gang's headquarters, the boy would be interrogated and tortured for information pertaining to his own gang superiors. Refusing to divulge anything to his captors, the boy would attempt to escape the gang hideout and kill 3 of his tormentors in the process. Pursued once more, the gang members would not tolerate further slights against their honor and resolved to kill the boy. Yet as they cornered the boy once more, angels would descend from the sky. The jet-black chaplain of the Raven would crash to the earth and rescue the boy, to which he, in his exhausted state, would resist in his misapprehensions that the ceramite-clad warriors were gangers of a different stripe. Taken to the fortress monastery of the Moon of Deliverance, the Raven Spire, the boy would be inducted into the 19th as an aspirant Astartes. By no means a cooperative student, the boy would on many occasions evade his tutors and attempt to escape the Bastion of Shadows. Yet with time, the boy would study the teachings of the Emperor of Mankind and duty of the Raven to protect humanity from its malevolent foes. Focusing his energies on his training, the boy would prove to be the most promising neophyte the chapter had seen in many centuries. Assuming the names Kayvan to honor his youth among his gang of Kievar, and Shrike in deference to the hunter hawks native to the Diagothian mountains, the boy would seek to emulate the pedigree and fearless nature of the predatory avians. Promoted to the rank of Battle Brother, Shrike would be installed into the 3rd Company, the Ghost Stalkers. Proving his prowess as a warrior within the company, renowned for their skill in ambush warfare, Kayvan's immense skill would see him promoted to the rank of Shadow Captain, with the interment of his previous captain, Alarin, into a dreadnought sarcophagus. Reaching new heights of glory as Shadow Captain of the Ghost Stalkers, Shrike would earn tales of legend during campaigns such as his defiance during the War of Skullrack. Upon the world of Targus 8, Kayvan would lead his company to destroy the Orcs' orbital defenses and be stranded within the heart of the War's territory. Fighting for 2 Terran Standard years within the Greenskin ranks, Shrike's guerrilla warfare tactics would harry the Xenos at every turn as they sabotaged their Stomper factories and ammunition stores, artillery batteries, and encampments. Ambushing the Orc commando patrols and targeting high-value targets of Orc officers, Shrike would relay vital intel to his chapter during his skirmishes to aid in the defeat of Skullrak. Targus 8 would be cleansed of the Greenskins, far preceding the predictions of the Imperial Strategos analysis, and earn the Third Company under the command of their shadow captain unswerving pride and respect. Phantoms of war wreathed in darkness, Shrike would lead his company at the forefront of each engagement and be known by the Orcs as the Death Beakies. Depriving their foes of a so-called fair fight, the enemies of the Third Company would attempt with no success to bait the Ghost Stalkers into battle, which could clip their wings. Forming a veteran cadre known as Shrike's Wing from the success of their campaign, Shrike would be awarded the Laurel Imperialis for his deeds. Leading further victories against the Orcs during the Donara and Yahe campaigns, Shrike would be regarded by the civil populace as nothing less than a savior. Beseeching the Emperor to send forth his emancipating angel to their aid, dozens of worlds would rejoice with every victory made in his name. Yet not all subjects of the Imperium would revere the methods of the Raven, even among the ranks of the Adeptus Astartes. Seconded to the world of Quintus, the Third Company would seek to slay a demon prince of the Alpha Legion, Kernax Voldorius. Aided by the Night Lord's Traitor Legion and a sizable contingent of the 20th, the Ghost Stalkers would seek to sever the head of the Hydra. Infiltrating the planet, the Raven Guard would find a surprising ally already battling the forces of Voldorius, the White Scars. Led by their master of the hunt, Corsaro Khan, the two captains would, despite their differences in tactics and storied rivalry between their chapters, agree to an alliance. The two third companies of the 5th and 19th would initiate the hunt for Voldorius, fighting side by side to bring the Chaos Champion to heel. Both experts of lightning strike warfare, the White Scar's mastery as huntsmen, combined with the stealth tactics of the Raven Guard, would prove more than sufficient in slaying the Hydra. Corsaro Khan would claim the head of Voldorius as proof of his deed, and strike his name from the records of the hunt. Parting with the Sons of Chogoris with the conclusion of their joint campaign, Shrike and his company would add their blades to the defensive campaign of Prefecture. The Tau Empire had begun their third sphere of expansion across the stars and dared to lay claim to the worlds of the Master of Mankind. Besieging Doth, Caradon, and delinquents, the Xenos would rapidly encroach upon the inroads to the wider Imperium. 8 Space Marine chapters would engage the Tau planet side of Prefectia, with the Raven Guard the foremost of the assault. Led by their chapter master, Corvin Severax, Shrike would be commanded to hunt down the commanders of the Tau as the Shadow Force Solak confronted their armies. Capitalizing on their weaknesses, the Xenos would nonetheless prove capable strategists, exposing few vulnerabilities to be exploited. Led by their supreme commander, Oshacera, the senior officer known as Shadow Sun would prove to be a deadly foe. Fighting alongside the White Scars under the command of Corsaro Khan once more, Shrike would allow Corsaro to cross another name off his records of the hunt as he faced Shadow Sun in single combat. Focusing his attentions to the north of Aquilon Hive, Kavan would command elements of the 2nd, 10th, and Vanguard 1st Company to achieve his objectives. The adherents of the Codex Astartes would wage a costly war against the disciples of the Code of Fire, until the Raven Guard Master of Shadows would take to the field personally. Confronting Shadow Sun, Corvin Severax would duel the Tau commander in an attempt to hasten the Xenos' defeat. Slain by the cowardly deceptions of Oshacera, the chapter master would fall in battle, leaving the Raven Guard without their most senior commander. With little time to instill a new chapter master, the Raven Guard had already deployed each of their shadow captains across the Prefectia campaign, who were now embroiled in bitter skirmishes. Shrike's strike force would decimate their targets and bait a trap to draw out Shadow Sun. Ambushing Oshacera, Shrike would disable the stealth drones of the battalion and orchestrate concentrated strikes to cripple Shadow Sun's forces. Forcing Shadow Sun to withdraw, Shrike would covertly retrieve the progenoid glands of his fallen brethren to enable a new generation of aspirants to be sired. Proven 100 times over in his selfless deeds made in the name of his chapter, Kayvan would be chosen to assume the mantle of Chapter Master of the 19th. Assuming the title of Master of Shadows with reverence and dutiful resolve, the Savior of Targus 8 and Bane of Skullrack would meet with the White Scars to once again unite against a common enemy. The Masters of Ambush would lay traps for their foes as the open terrain assaults of the White Scars shattered their baited enemies alike to a thunderous hammer blow. Allying their strengths and countering their inherent strategic shortcomings, the warriors of Corsaro and Shrike would work in unison alike to the ancient Terran philosophical concept of yin and yang. Cutting their foes to ribbons, Shadowsun's forces would be crippled by the combined might of not only the chapters of the First Founding, but the renewed deployment of the remaining chapters and Imperial Knights. The venerated Freeblade, the Obsidian Knight, would fall, and both sides of the conflicts would seek a means to regroup and tend to their wounds. Withdrawing from the battle with minimal casualties, though the Raven Guard would not achieve victory during the War for Prefectia, their newly appointed Master of Shadows had proven a worthy successor of Severax. Diminished from their many wars across the war zones of Damocles, the Raven Guard, under the leadership of their newly appointed Master, would need new recruits to replenish their ranks. With the timely return of the Avenging Sun, Rabute Guilliman, a new breed of Astartes would be gifted to the Raven Guard. Primaris Space Marines, sired from the Ultima Founding, would renew the 19th in earnest. The salvation of the Raven Guard assured with the intervention of the Lord of Ultramar. Recognizing his new Astartes' enhanced strength and endurance, Shrike would undergo the procedure known as the Rubicon Primaris. Remolded as a survivor of the surgeries to become a Primaris Marine, Kayvan Shrike would succeed in his endurance of the perilous procedure despite its many risks and agonizing pain. His conviction without peer, Kayvan Shrike now leads the Raven Guard into the era Indomitus as stalwart yet covert warriors. Seldom seen, nor revered for their deeds among the shadows, the 19th's victories are regardless whispered throughout the many worlds of the Imperium with no less regard than their more overt cousin chapters. Leading his men at the vanguard of every battle, Shrike symbolizes the venerable deeds of his chapter and legacy of his Primarch as a true son of the Raven Lord. Brooding at the fate of his predecessor, Kayvan wrestles with his innate pride as a warrior as his most exploitable weakness, and vows not to follow in Severax's ignoble example. Mentoring the finest warriors under his charge, Shrike seeks a protege worthy of succeeding in his place as a superior Master of Shadows. Seeking to abdicate his role as custodian of the Raven Guard, Shrike burdens his duty as leader of the 19th until a superior inheritor of the mantle shall ascend. Yet until such time, Kayvan shall leap into the fray, armed with his Raven's talons, said to be crafted by his own Primarch, Corvus Corax. Sundering the foes of the Imperium from the shadows, until his burden of duty shall end. This night, the Raven Guard will make a change. We shall seek the solace of shadows, as we always have, as our father Corax taught us. But from this point on, we will use every weapon at our disposal, every alliance we can forge. We can afford no other course. This has been a tale of the Great Imperium of Man, read by the Remembrancer. Kayvan Shrike remains dutiful to his cause, despite his misgivings at his appointment for such a venerated and prestigious role. For while there is virtue in humble self-reflection of one's capability, such critique of one's character can be a smokescreen to one's full potential. Find pride in your own strengths, for there is no shame in acknowledging your talent. And so long as you do not fall to the enticements of ego, such prowess shall be a boon to those who look to you for guidance and strength.